Humans migrate away from Earth, yet I was left behind, just because I suddenly fell ill, slept in the cryogenic pod for 10,000 years. After waking up, I am the only human left on Earth. Only a high-level AA bionic person is left, and the countless disciplined machines left behind on orders. They can be freely combined into any form, even the Gundam that stands 99.99 meters tall. It only takes a few seconds to complete the combination. At this moment, I had just woken up from the president's room. Turning around, I boarded the self-disciplined machine to go to the Palace of Versailles for a barbecue. In a week, I traveled to all the famous attractions and scenic spots around the world. As social animals, humans are capable of. Prolonged loneliness can drive a person mad. According to the information left by the replicants, humans left Earth over 9,000 years ago. The first destination is the planet bustling, 4.3 light-years away. I want to follow the path they took to find them, but I can't bear to part with Earth. Suddenly, I had a brilliant idea, and so it was decided. I want to take the Earth to find them, as long as a planetary engine is installed on Earth. This can push the Earth out of the solar system. At my command, the self-disciplined machines spread throughout the solar system started to busy themselves, manufacturing various components for the planetary engine. After issuing the command, I entered the sleep pod and fell asleep once more. The rest of the tasks can be handled by the advanced bionic commander. Awakening again, it has been 20 years later. I arrived in the northern hemisphere to build the planetary engine. Very soon, mountains far surpassing Mount Kamalangma, a massive planetary engine appeared in sight. Tens of thousands of planetary engines across the entire northern hemisphere, and the bustling massive aerospace transport ship composed a grand industrial tapestry. Just watching from afar, an exhilarating emotion resonated in my chest. 100,000 planetary engines across the entire Earth. It has all been built. In a little while, we can order the collective ignition. Everything is ready. The planetary engine can be ignited at any time. I looked up at the endless universe. At this moment, the galaxy is surprisingly complex. Then let's light the fire. In an instant, the entire northern hemisphere of the Earth simultaneously ignite the turning engines surrounding the equator. A massive blue beam of light shot straight into the sky. The Earth has set sail. The distance from the solar system to the Proxima Centauri system is 4.3 light-years. The voyage fleet from 10,000 years ago traveled for a full 500 years. And today, the entire Earth is heading towards the Proxima Centauri system. The speed is naturally not possible to be as fast as theirs. It will take a full 1,000 years to walk. But for me, who has a cryopod, it's just like taking a nap. However, when I woke up from the cryopod again, but it is not 1,000 years later, but 900 years later, and it was because of an emergency that I was awakened. I'm sorry, Master. We discovered a self-disciplined mechanical aggregate. If I could reboot this self-disciplined machine, its internal database helps us understand humans from 10,000 years ago. It will be very helpful. Is authorization for activation granted? Activation of human property disposal. Only humans can make decisions. Understanding all of this, I immediately granted the authorization. A few days later, I received all the organized materials, although it has been 10,000 years. I looked at one of the messages with confusion. Humans left 10,000 years ago. Once in the region engine factory of the Billion star system, the remaining part is monitored by the replicants. Do these androids have reproductive capabilities? The information is not displayed. We are now entering the orbit of Billing's star. According to the obtained information, on the fifth planet of Bilin's star, constructed factories for drive law engines and anti-gravity devices. This planet is roughly the same size as Earth, but the environment above is cold all year round. It is a frozen planet. 10,000 years ago, humans named this planet White Star. Later, humanity established on the White Star a large-scale driving engine factory and a smaller-scale anti-gravity device factory. Before bidding farewell to Beijing, humans have left an ecological community here, and the 300 androids living within it. The mission of these replicants is guard the factory left behind by humans on this planet. In order to smoothly take over the factory, I must personally go to Beijing. However, at this moment within the ecological dome of Beijing, originally there were 300 androids in the data. It is now overcrowded. They even developed their own social system. The upper class occupies the means of production. Translation error. The nobles still possess the absolute power of the giant divine weapons. However, above the nobility, there is another life that has been sleeping for an unknown duration. Residents of Xiaocheng district are gathering strength at this moment. Prepare to overthrow the rule of the noble lords. The sound of gunfire came incessantly like raindrops. An army of countless lower-class brothers formed the resistance, rushing towards the passage leading to the upper district. The already corrupt guard trembled in fear until that colossal humanoid mecha descended. With a loud bang, the giant warrior crushed over a dozen rebels with a single stomp. At the same time, raised the massive arm. A scorching beam shot from the back of the hand. Countless rebels couldn't even let out a scream. It turned into a conversation. Suddenly, the giant mech that was supposed to continue fighting the rebels stopped. The Titans located within the upper district. One by one, they lifted their heads. They moved without receiving orders. The nobles are currently hosting a banquet. They were all stunned upon hearing the news. Could it be that the ancient ones have returned? However, regarding the information about the ancient rulers, what they understood had all been twisted by the passage of time. They only knew it was the old god. And the new gods have already replaced the old gods. The old ones are coming back. Do you want to take revenge on the new gods? No matter what. This is no longer something they can participate in. Now, the only thing they can do is awaken the sleeping deity. Everything will be decided by the divine. At this moment, Laura, who had been awakened, only felt a wave of fatigue wash over her. He knew he had been awakened once again, just when there was no chance to sleep. O great deity! Once again, we welcome your awakening. The nobles knelt on the ground, waiting for the divine to speak. Finally, an aged voice came through. Why did you wake me up? O great deity! The old ones have returned. Upon hearing this news, Laura in the sleep pod suddenly widened her eyes. It is them. They have returned. However, when the new god Lao woke up and heard the news, the first action was the execution of a large number of nobles in a purge. It's not because he knows the dirty deeds of the nobles, but because they attempted to stop him from searching for the old rulers. No one knows this has also been asleep for nearly 10,000 years. The bioengineered beings are barely holding on now. All of this is to hold on until the day the old ones return, just to say a word to them. The personnel left behind in the stars successfully completed their mission. Thinking of this, Layar immediately put on the ancient power armor, leaving the ecological dome to search for his former master civilization. The fierce snowstorm mixed with shards of ice. Every step must sink deeply into the snow of the strange demon. Lao, even while wearing powered armor, still feeling out of breath, He still remembers a long, long time ago. He and his colleagues have just received the assignment to stay behind. Every day I patrol each factory outside the ecological dome, until everyone gradually grew older. The frequency of patrols has just begun to decrease. Later, they discovered several dormant pods. So they decided to choose a few people to go into hibernation, looking forward to the day I can report to the master civilization that the mission is complete. But reality is often very cruel. The dormant capsule they found began to deteriorate gradually, so they dismantled the damaged hibernation pod components, used for maintenance of well-preserved items, and draw lots to select those who will enter hibernation. Only one was left 3,000 years ago. Lauer is lucky, yet it is also unfortunate. He can never forget. During the last draw, the old buddy's smile was like a heavy burden. Lauer, I am sorry. The road ahead can only be walked by you alone, until he thought he could no longer hold on. Finally, the return of the main civilization has arrived. Following the route patrolled countless times 1,000 years ago, Lauer remembers very clearly. Not far ahead is a factory. As long as we get there, we will surely be able to contact the main civilization. Old trudging through the wind and snow. Breathing became increasingly labored. Even the power armor he was wearing started to creak. Old buddy, hang in there. Just hold on a little longer. This is our last patrol. We must reach the end. Suddenly, Lauer's eyes widened. He saw a transport plane rising ahead, flying towards an unknown distant place. Lauer's eyes had unknowingly been touched by tears. It has been 10,000 years. He finally saw the traces of the main civilization again. Old squeezed the last bit of strength from his body. The powered armor continued to walk towards the distant mountain. I don't know how long it's been. Lauer's consciousness had begun to blur. He could only rely on biting his own tongue to wake himself up. He knows. If I fall here, he could no longer stand up. Until in a daze, he saw the distant sky. Dozens of small drones flew towards his location. Lauer's footsteps finally came to a stop. He looked at the more than a dozen small drones surrounding him. Lauer chuckled. He raised his hand. I cast a shadow towards the location of the drone. He knew that the humans behind the drone would see. This is enough. With a loud bang, the power armor lay fallen in the snowfield, gradually buried by the heavy snow. At this moment I am eating hot pot on earth, preparing to finish this meal and enter hibernation again, until the equipment of the White Star is repaired. Just as I was about to feast heartily, follow my bionic sister, but it brought an astonishing piece of news. What are you saying? The bionic beings from 10,000 years ago are still alive. Yes, there is a well-preserved hard drive inside his power armor, according to the recorded information inside. He has been relying on the sleep pod to get by until now. He has naturally aged to the end of his lifespan. Medical means are no longer effective. What is his name? Lauer. What does this number signify? Setting sail for 600 years. November 2nd appearance. Digital number 7789. Lauer is the name given to him by the humans who later took charge of him. I remember. Take him back to Earth. Let's bury it at the foot of Mount Everest. The remaining 300 androids. If we could find the burial site, let's also bring it back to Earth and bury it with old I will conduct a search, but human spirit blood. 10,000 years of time. They have become very difficult to trace. The artificial intelligence Bising reminded. I know. Enter the original master. After I finished saying this, then they slowly laid down in the sleep pod. What I saw last was the android girl gently organized everything for me as she always did, finally smiled at me. I closed the cabin door for you. I am a bit surprised. I just don't understand how much I care. A wave of drowsiness surged over. I fell into a deep sleep. Waking up again, it had already been 10 years. I have returned to the surface from my deep underground slumber. How many bionic humans were found? I sit in the recliner, inquiring about this matter from 10 years ago. 6 people. They have all experienced a long period of dormancy. Recently deceased replicants from 5,000 years ago. You can roughly find the destination. No records from earlier times have been passed down. It has completely disappeared. The android girl replied, Beijing has already collected the ashes of these 6 individuals, migrated to the foot of Mount Everest on Earth, buried together with Raoul. The 7 of them finally reunited on Earth. In his voice, it's rare to feel a sense of nostalgia. Translation error. I sipped the milk tea brought by the synthetic girl. He started to inquire about the progress of the self-discipline machine. The response from the bionic girl also satisfied me greatly. Most of the work is nearly finished, including the relocation of the factory on White Star, the reason humanity initially existed on White Star, leaving such a large area for the factory. The main reason is still because the human fleet cannot take away at all. But I'm carrying an entire Earth with me. This is not a problem for me at all. This way we can accelerate the Earth. Production speed of the virtual rate engine and anti-gravity facilities. It can save a lot of resources. Finish the work arrangement. I looked at the android girl and said, the ecological dome of Beijing is about to collapse. Since we're leaving, let's give them a gift. Building an ecological dome is not a big project. The finishing touches on the White Star were quickly completed. Everything is just a matter of a few days. At this moment, I am standing on a transport ship in low Earth orbit, staring blankly at the White Star the size of a disk above. This is the first planet where humans landed 1,000 years ago. Translation error. Everything is ready, Master. A voice from behind came from the android girl. At this moment on Earth, the planetary engine is in a state of imminent activation. No matter if it equals the subjet, it's still the spatial curvature of the virtual rate engine. Even this transport ship beneath my feet, it has already docked at the gap. The sky cable connecting the time-space rift with Earth. The connection has been checked and is correct. All right, let's set off. I nodded when I returned to the surface of the Earth. 100,000 planetary engines are already on standby. Once again, it emitted a blue light. At the same time, 10,000 of them have already installed the virtual rate engine, while jetting plasma. The internal virtual rate engine is also up and running. The space around Earth begins to warp, driving the Earth rapidly towards the Bustling star system. In a short time, the speed reached 1% of the speed of light, and it's still increasing in speed, far from 100,000 planet engines. The speed generated by the ejected plasma is comparable. It's like the difference between a high-speed train and an ox cart. Just like that, the Earth is moving at a rapid speed, disappeared in the sky above the White Star. The virtual rate engine is operating stably. All systems are go for Earth's departure. Master, we succeeded. After seeing the effect of the virtual rate engine propulsion, I have decided to completely shut down the plasma propulsion. Once pushed the Earth away from the solar system, we arrived at the planetary engine plasma propulsion in the Bustling star system. Finally completed the historical mission, completely replaced by the virtual rate engine. I am wearing powered armor. lying on a lounge chair placed on the great wall, gazing up at the sky. The blue plasma beam from the planet engine shot straight into the sky. At this moment, the sky above Earth seemed increasingly quiet. The pitch-black starry sky is dotted with countless twinkling stars, forming a shining galaxy. It appears no different from the starry sky of Earth in the past. Just because the Earth lost its atmosphere, so the starlight cannot be refracted. The stars cannot twinkle. At the same time, it was also due to the loss of light pollution. The stars in the sky look clearer. At this time, Earth had long since distanced itself from the Billion star system. Each curvature engine starts. This speed is still gradually increasing, is the direction in which the Earth is moving at this moment. It was the fleet of human explorers from 10,000 years ago. The direction the Confession star set sail towards once again, according to the information in the Bexing database. The goal of humanity's fleet of exploration 1,000 years ago is another star system located 180 light-years away from the Benzing system, because according to human observations at that time, that is also a star system with Earth-like planets. So humanity made it the next docking point. So I followed in the footsteps of humanity to see for myself. At least we need to find the next step for humanity's voyage. Regional engines on the 100,000 planetary engines. It is expected to be fully installed in 10 years. By then, the Earth's speed will also reach twice the speed of light. In about 100 years, the Earth is about to reach the target star system. The master should be in hibernation. The bionic girl appeared behind me and reminded me, "That's right, I'm going to hibernate again. This time is for a 700-year slumber. If all goes well, we'll reach the target star system after waking up. Let me see it one more time." I sighed as I looked at the starry sky. Unfortunately, there is no blue sky. If you want to see the blue sky, just go to the ecological dome. I sighed. Then I was stunned. Since the planetary engine is no longer needed for plasma propulsion to accelerate the Earth, if we could build a sufficiently large ecological dome enveloping the entire Earth, can we restore the entire Earth's ecology? Restore the Earth to its former appearance? I couldn't do it before. It is because the planetary engine needs to eject plasma to accelerate the Earth, so it can't be wrapped up at all. However, the regional engine accelerates the Earth, utilizing spatial area bubble technology. It is to directly warp the space around the Earth, to achieve the goal of moving the Earth. So even if the entire Earth is wrapped up, it won't affect the operation of the internal area engines. Because of the power of the regional engine, it directly acts on space. It will not affect any objects on the surface of the Earth, even the enormous ecological dome that envelops the globe. It really seems feasible. This must be a huge factory, but it doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, after completing the factory construction and engine installation work, disciplined machines are just idle when they are not in use. Thinking of this, I immediately summoned 7 intelligent quantum computers. Start calculating the feasibility of doing this. The final result is gratifying. Theoretically, it really is feasible. I just want to create an ecological dome that encompasses the entire Earth. It took a little longer than expected. It may take hundreds or even thousands of years to build. After all, it needs to wrap around the entire Earth. The project scale is truly immense. The initial construction of 100,000 planetary engines. Compared to this, it's truly the center of the Earth. The amount of work has increased by more than 100 times. But I have plenty of time. Just thinking about not having to wait for the Earth to return to the solar system. You can see the blue sky and blooming flowers again. I just couldn't stop getting excited. In order to discuss this plan with the intelligent computers, I have postponed my hibernation for a few more days. Finally determined the goal. The plan is named the Earth Dome Project. First, we need to build 1 million Tianju as the support of the entire sky of the Earth. Each pillar of heaven needs to be 100,000 meters tall. That's 100 kilometers. The height is nearly 10 times that of a planetary engine. The difficulty of construction far exceeds that of a planetary engine. Then, using Tianju as the pivot, constructing an ecological dome that covers the entire Earth. To know that in the 21st century, the height of the Tiangong space station above the ground, it's only about 340 kilometers. You can say, at that time, the entire Earth's dome will be a height of 100 kilometers. The troposphere of the Earth's atmosphere has already been. Stratosphere middle layer, and part of the thermosphere is completely wrapped within. Only the scattering layer is not included. Once completed, under manual adjustment, the Earth's atmosphere can completely restore its former appearance. At the same time, it is necessary to establish the operational orbit of the artificial sun in the sky, and the orbit of the artificial moon. Let the sun and the moon. It also restored the usual rhythm of operation. The entire plan is expected to take 1,000 years. It may even take longer. But just thinking about the scene after the plan is completed, I couldn't help but laugh. The plan is finally confirmed. Just 10 years later, the self-disciplined machinery completed the installation of all regional engines. After completing the anti-gravity transformation for each other, the Earth Poverty Alleviation Plan can now begin. So I entered the sleep pod with beautiful aspirations. The 700 years of slumber has begun. 100 years have passed since my last slumber. As soon as I woke up from the sleep pod, I saw the android girl standing beside me. "How many years has it been since the launch?" I yawned and asked. "The current time is the 10,890th year of the departure power, although 100 years have passed. But master, you were awakened early. It's just that the time is very short in advance. Only 3 months. I'm very sorry. We indeed encountered an unexpected event. You need to make the decision. What happened? I am puzzled. Earth is now zero point 0.5 light years away from the target galaxy. As for more information, I was just awakened from sleep 10 minutes ago. I still don't understand. The bionic girl owes a debt. After a brief rest, I walked out of the dormitory with the android girl, arrived in a corridor filled with a strong sense of technology. "Master, naming service for you." The sound of naming the quantum computer echoed in the hallway. "The Earth is currently moving towards the target star system at twice the speed of light. Expected to arrive at the target star system in 3 months. However, during the navigation process, the self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate on the left front is responsible for vigilance. A battlefield from a past interstellar war has been discovered. Upon hearing this news, I suddenly became excited. At the same time, I'm a bit nervous. After preliminary investigation, it should be the post-war ruins. And the time the war broke out, it has been at least a few thousand years. Thousands of years ago. Is it related to humanity? I frowned. No evidence of human artifacts was found on site. Preliminary judgment suggests it was not a war involving humans. It should be between the two factions of the Wanxing forces. I nodded. How far are the ruins from us? 91 kilometers, approximately 1,000th of a light year. Then let's go take a look. I immediately decided. 1,000th of a light year, if it had just left the solar system, the Earth is still using plasma propulsion. We must cover this distance. I'm afraid it will take several years. Although the Earth at that time, under plasma propulsion, the maximum speed has already reached a fraction of the speed of light. But it is even heavier. Changing direction takes a long time. And when we arrived at the place, more time is needed to slow down and dock. But now it's different. The current Earth is like 100,000 planetary engines. The entire Earth has been equipped with regional engines. It's not just about speed anymore. Moreover, slowing down and docking is more convenient. It feels like a distance of 1,000th of a light year now. Just need to make a slight turn. We will arrive soon. So that's how it is. The Earth without my noticing, controlled by chiming, heading towards that ancient battlefield under the starry sky. At this moment he had already taken the elevator to the ground, then controlling the clothes on his body. Nanotechnology as power armor. At the same time, on the power armor, the built-in anti-gravity device is activated, flying with me towards the ecological dome. Now I am flying inside the Earth. No longer need to wait for self-driving technology after the power armor was equipped with a gravity control device. Just need to activate the anti-gravity device, repel the gravitational force of the planet, and control the direction of repulsive force deflection. Then you can fly freely. Of course, this way of flying, it can only be used within the planet. Arrived in space, we still need to rely on the self-propulsion of after all, the regional engine. It still can't be miniaturized to the level at which power armor can be used. And the reason I am so eager is, leaving the ecological dome, I just want to take a look. The Earth Dome project that I've been thinking about. How is the progress going? Although it is 1,000 years away from the planned time. Still far from it. But I still desperately want to see Jinbu. A gap opens in the ecological dome. Me and the bionic girl who closely follows the climate. Arrived outside the ecological dome. Countless sunny sky giants are embedded in the clouds. Appeared in my line of sight. This is what is called the Tianju. Each pillar of heaven is 100 kilometers tall. The height is nearly 10 times that of a planetary engine. I stand on the ground looking up. Even the end of the heavenly pillar is not visible. Some heavenly pillars are nearing completion. But more importantly, it was just laying the foundation, based on my previous discussions with the quantum computers, since there are 100,000 planetary engines. In the future, there will be no need for fonts like spray. Come to accelerate the Earth. Then let's simply raise them directly, used as the pillar of heaven. This can save a lot of time. Moreover, the planet engine after the upgrade, used as a pillar of heaven. It won't affect the operation of the regional engine. At the same time, I decided to build the remaining 900,000 pillars of heaven. An installation area for the engine is also reserved internally. At the same time, the regional engine factory on Earth do not stop working and continue production. The regional engine produced, directly installed on the Tianju. Once the 1,000,000 pillars are completed, at the same time, all the regional engines were installed. The speed of the Earth can be further increased. I nodded in satisfaction. He then asked the bionic girl, "How is the shipbuilding going?" "It has been completed, master." The response from the bionic girl did not disappoint me either. Before the last hibernation, I decided to build myself a ship to break free from the past where travel was limited to the space shuttle. Of course, I can make this decision. It is also because we now have anti-gravity technology. After the installation of the anti-gravity facilities on the ship, you can stand firmly on the ground just like on the surface. At that moment, I stood beneath the completed battleship, looking at this colossal object above my head, full of excitement, 1,200 meters long and 300 meters wide, due to the installation of the anti-gravity device. At this moment, this ship, the horizontal grid is about 100 meters above me, silently, if it weren't for that overwhelming sense of oppression. It can even make people overlook its existence. And around the ship in attendance, still surrounded by hundreds of the same self-disciplined machines hovering in mid-air, they are all my guards. I plan to personally visit that ancient battlefield under the starry sky, a self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate the size of an aircraft carrier. Seemed very small in front of my flagship, but if it really comes to a fight, the self-disciplined mechanical aggregate can freely gather and disperse. Even if my flagship has equally strong fivefold power, I still don't feel like I'm on this ship. Winning any self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate would suffice, let alone a few hundred. In any case, I am ready here. The Earth has also sailed to the edge of the ancient battlefield, accompanied by Kyming controlling the Earth's drive engine. Hit the brakes on Earth. The Earth is rapidly gliding in the spatial cannon formed by the drive engine. The surrounding spatial drive quickly stabilized. In just a few minutes, it docked in the universe at twice the speed of light. Under normal circumstances, the Earth is such a massive planet, suddenly stopping from twice the speed of light. It's simply impossible. Even inertia alone could tear the Earth apart. But the drive engine is different. The propulsion engine relies on bending space, utilizing the contraction and expansion of space, dragging the Earth forward, extreme a little. It can even be said that the Earth has never moved. It is the space that is changing, carrying the moving Earth. So now it's just the cessation of spatial changes. Naturally, there is no issue of inertia. It's like using an excavator to thread a needle. The Earth came to a halt so casually and incredibly, stopped at the edge of a wasteland that resembled a graveyard of warships. At this moment, under my restraint, a beam of light was cast down, enveloped me and the synthetic girl within it. Suddenly, the bodies of the two people slowly rose. This is exactly what I enjoyed when I just awakened. The words say to establish the long and light near technology. Thus, we entered the interior of the organization. I arrived at the command room with the bionic girl. At this moment, the spacecraft has begun to ascend, using anti-gravity technology, breaking free from Earth's gravity, flying straight towards space. Hundreds of autonomous mechanical sentinels followed suit. At this moment, all self-disciplined machines on Earth, the upgrade has been completed. Anti-gravity devices have become standard equipment. I stand in front of the idle window of the command room, looking at the Earth surrounded by a vast expanse floating in the air. Busy and disciplined machinery has become a new landscape. Countless disciplined machines float in mid-air, building the pillar towards the sky. Master, you have not yet named your creation. The bionic girl beside him reminded him. Let's call it the Easy Ship. I thought for a moment and said, I originally wanted to choose a powerful name, but thinking of my own vows, any self-disciplined mechanical entity can take them down. The name I thought of is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't say it. If it's too domineering, then let's make it a bit forgetful. Just like that, the light cruiser headed straight for the ancient battlefield in the starry sky, from top to bottom, from left to right, equivalent to the volume of several planets. Many objects are merely fragments floating in the void. According to Kyming's calculations, those fragments must be the wreckage of the battleship. Deep within the ancient battlefield, You can still see some warships that are mostly intact but damaged. There are big ones and small ones. The big one is quite similar to my light leisure boat. The smaller one is similar to the self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate. It also comes from these remains, analyzed using a quantum computer. The technical level of both sides in the conflict is far below that of Earth today. The danger is not significant. That's why they agreed to let me come and see for myself. The sword's tail sprayed a blue plasma flame, pushing the King Feng closer to the edge of the battlefield. I stand by the idle window. You can even see the patterns on a nearby fragment. That pattern has a unique and intricate beauty. Clearly belongs to a foreign civilization. The scene at the idle window immediately returned to normal. The fragment I just looked at, also formed by a self-disciplined mechanical deep space shovel, income in hand. At this moment, outside my idle window, countless self-disciplined machines, busy among the ruins of the battleship. Translation error. Bring it back to Earth for research. What I can do? Just looking out the window. As for me personally going out of the cabin to wander around the ruins, that is impossible. Allow me to observe up close. This is already the limit, even if the danger is not significant. This is also a battlefield ruin. Personally go to the lower tier areas for contact. What if we encounter leftover bombs or bullets? Not far from the easy ship, a dozen self-disciplined mechanical aggregates, guarding a control engine core. The size of a standalone drive engine is approximately 1 kilometer, even because of going in light. The speed can reach nearly 10 times the speed of light, far beyond the speed of Earth at this moment. Can be responsible for scouting and providing early warning for Earth. By the way, able to maintain communication at superluminal speeds, thanks to quantum communication technology. Unfortunately, the current quantum communication technology on Earth, there are still distance limitations. It can only be used within a range of at most 1/10 of a light year. Ko Chu Fa. At this moment, I am sitting in the captain's chair of the relaxation. Just now, news came from Beijing, the autonomous machine responsible for exploration in this battlefield ruin. Discovered messages left by an alien civilization thousands of years ago. Can you understand? I asked Beijing. Some information can still be extracted from certain devices, after extensive data comparison, although unable to fully decipher the other person's language, but still confirmed some information. Then, through Beijing's explanation, I learned that this is a civil war within the same civilization. To be precise, it is the government troops pursuing the rebels. Both sides then erupted into fierce battle here. The rebels have all been annihilated. The remaining government troops are returning home with the Sea of Worlds from both sides, left behind this wasteland. The current location of the main body of this civilization. It is a star system located 30 light years away from here. According to the data left by this civilization, perhaps they can be called the Neural people, based on the analysis of their spacecraft speed, comparable to the speed of the fleet that set sail when humanity embarked on its journey 10,000 years ago, at about 1% of the speed of light. In other words, it will take them at least 3,000 years to cover this distance. To eliminate the rebels, they have pursued for a full 3,000 years. What kind of persistence is this? I can't believe it. Beijing also responded to my doubts. Based on the retrieved data, it should be that the rebels have taken something crucial. The government is determined to reclaim it at any cost. Only then will this long pursuit occur, until the rebels are eliminated, returned after retrieving the items. And the time since the war began is exactly 3,000 years. That is to say, the fleet of the newer people returning home. They may have just returned to their planet recently. What is it that is so important to them? I couldn't help but feel curious. No visual documentation is available. However, according to the data, it should be some kind of known as chaos primordial energy, because the chaotic primordial energy is indescribable. It seems to drive people mad, even if it is a recording instrument. The database will also become chaotic. The extracted content is completely unintelligible, so it is impossible to leave any visual records. However, it is not inherently destructive. Nothing will happen just by leaving it there, only when observed. Only then will it affect the observer, and it seems to only have an effect on the mind or data. What is this? Cthulhu? I looked at him in disbelief. Insufficient data for analysis. Human spirit animal. We need to change course. Are you going to investigate the Norland civilization? Bai Zhang asked. I shook my head. Forget it. 30 light years. It has been 15 years since it flew by. It's unclear whether the other party is a good person. Moreover, this still belongs to someone else. If a conflict arises, then it won't be good. It's better not to complicate things unnecessarily. But there is one thing I don't understand. During the 3,000-year pursuit of the Norrøn people, their technology did not advance further. Based on the level of technological advancement on Earth as I currently know it, 3,000 years is enough for humans to develop the drive engine. The self-disciplined machine has been developed. Even humans only took 500 years. The Var Voyager fleet is sailing through space. The driving engine was developed while many humans were in a dormant state. If the Norlands had developed a drive engine in these 3,000 years, it is entirely possible to assemble a faster fleet, chasing the rebels at superluminal speed. Easily annihilated the rebels. The Kenner people never did this. Is it that the technological bottleneck cannot be broken through? Is there another reason? But I didn't think much about it either. About the Knoll civilization and chaotic primordial energy, I thought these were the greatest gains from the ruins of this battlefield. After witnessing the vast ancient battlefield ruins up close, I then took the easy cruise back to Earth. Only 3 months left until we reach the target star system. Therefore, I also do not plan to go into hibernation. I plan to relax well during these 3 months. According to the original plan, the Earth will linger at the edge of this ruin for 10 days. 10 days later, no matter if there are new discoveries or not, the city sets sail to continue the journey. And so the 7th day arrived. I woke up as usual in the morning, accompanied by the glow of the artificial sun. After a simple wash and meal, I lay back on the sofa, leisurely watching a movie from centuries ago. Suddenly, the sound of the quantum computer revival came from the old radio beside me. Master, we found a space shuttle in the ruins. What's so special about this kind of thing? The Norland warships have been shattered like this. Isn't it just a space shuttle? I said nonchalantly. It is a spacecraft made by humans. Hearing this, I instantly sat up from the sofa. This is truly an incredible discovery. Not just that. Then Jenksing added even more explosive news. Based on the detection, the spacecraft is equipped with sleep pods. Life signs detected inside. Listening to the revitalization report. This is when I finally understood the meaning of revitalization. What appears in the video is an old-fashioned cryogenic pod. It is the same model I used while sleeping for 10,000 years in the 21st century. It's a not-so-great experience in a cryogenic sleep pod. However, this kind of sleep pod has one advantage. It is about saving energy, even without needing energy. As long as you remain still, you can stay frozen. Through the hatch of the cryopod, I also saw the figure inside the cryopod. It was actually someone with shiny blonde hair and long ears. A beautiful and delicately featured female elf. Isn't this a species that only appears in fantasy works? I was in shock. Master, we have extracted her hair, conducted DNA testing. The results show her gene sequence is clearly considered modified. It can be said that this is an artificial species. This method of modifying gene sequences. There are traces of human craftsmanship. We even have it in our genetic sequence. A segment suspected to be a signature verification has been discovered. Signature Official Lunar Gene Research Institute. I can't believe it. Has human genetic technology reached this level? Just like the curvature engine and the anti-gravity device. Human biotechnology has clearly made significant breakthroughs. To think they could create legendary magical creatures in the real world. This is probably the romance that belongs only to humanity. I feel deeply moved. According to the flight path recorded by the spacecraft, she comes from the target galaxy of this mission. She embarked from the target star system 3,000 years ago. It took 2,000 years to arrive here. As a result, the interstellar shuttle collided in the battlefield ruins. The awakening program that was originally set did not activate. She has been sleeping until now. Based on the recent genetic testing results, her theoretical lifespan limit has already reached 1,000 years. If humans from 10,000 years ago once left behind technical data in the target star system, Master, your lifespan should be greatly extended. How much can it improve? As soon as I heard it could extend my life, my heart suddenly warmed up. No problem for 3,000 years or even longer. Jenksing's answer made me lose my composure instantly. 3,000 years. Longer than the lifespan of this elf. This is a technology that humanity is ready to apply to itself. It might just be used for theoretical validation on elves. Nature will not maximize the effect. Jenksing explained. I understand. Let's continue our journey in 3 days. I am now filled with anticipation for the target galaxy. A testing ground after significant advancements in biotechnology. What will it really be like? Does the master need to wake him to gather some intelligence? Awaken. I watched the elf in the sleeping pod nod. However, when opening the hibernation pod, preparing to execute the awakening program. However, an unexpected situation arose. The armor on the elf is about to be stripped away. To better facilitate awakening, I actually found it impossible to detach. Then, Jenksing invaded the armored takeover program. An even stranger scene unfolded. The armor directly flowed into the elf's body. The armor on the elf is made up of Nimi robots, more advanced than the nanomaterial clothing I'm wearing. Moreover, these Nimi robots entered the body of the elf. It's not just about staying inside without moving, but will participate in the various operations of the refined body. Not only can it help the master eliminate invading bacteria, healing diseases and treating injuries, it can even prolong life. Help the elf live as close to its theoretical lifespan limit as possible, just like in the 21st century. The theoretical lifespan limit for humans is 120 years. In reality, very few people even reach the age of 100. This is simply the perfect fusion of nanotechnology and biotechnology. So after humans left Beijing, not only has there been significant progress in biotechnology, even Nimi technology has made significant advancements. Even nanotechnology and biotechnology have shown complementary interactions. This is what they call different paths, same destination. As Jenksing further analyzed the internal Nimi robot control program within the spirit, these inner robots can transform into armor as well, can still be turned into a weapon. The armor is equipped with a fatigue field defense. The defensive ability is not weak at all. It's considered a form of anti-gravity application. The weapon is a bow equipped with tracking and assisted aiming capabilities. During the attack, the Nimi robot collected the surrounding air, automatically generate compressed air. What was actually launched was an air bullet. The revitalization report is becoming increasingly surreal. After understanding the situation, I lost my memory and continued executing the awakening program. The process did not last long. As he woken up, I asked the bionic girl next to me, "I am already awake. It's just that he can't remember who he is right now. I don't know what happened." It should be amnesia, based on the monitoring of brainwaves. He wasn't lying. His brainwaves are indeed chaotic, consistent with symptoms of amnesia. I really want to chat with this wonderful guest. I can only spend time with the android girl every day. There are 7 quantum computers communicating with each other. There isn't a single person here who can speak. By the way, his language. If there is a language barrier, communication becomes difficult. The language he uses is Mandarin. It's just that the accent is a bit strange, since it is a species created by humans. Using human language is also reasonable. At this moment, the elf lady was sitting on the bed. The smooth walls around her were so bright that they even reflected her shadow. The fairy lady stared blankly at her reflection on the wall. She is located on a newly refitted medical ship. She has been awake for 1 day. On this day, it came with that which always appeared out of nowhere. I have communicated with an entity that calls itself Jenksing, but still it is unclear what happened. Filled with vigilance towards everything. She didn't know why she was here, not even knowing who they are. Thus, holding on to this confusion and vigilance, Miss Elf spoke about revitalization. She has amnesia due to a head injury. They express their own thoughts and intentions, but due to the elegance and upbringing etched in their bloodline, still expressed verbal gratitude, until Jenksing notified her that the master of this place wanted to see her. Miss Elf finally understood. It turns out that the person she had been conversing with, Jenksing, was not the owner of this place. Then the smooth wall opened a door. Miss Elf saw the person in front of her. A wave of warm familiarity washed over. As the windows and doors opened, Miss Elf also saw the appearance of the person in front of her. It's our first meeting. Yet there is a very warm feeling, as if carved into the genes. It exists within the bloodline. I couldn't help but feel an instant fondness for the person in front of me. However, feelings of affection remain. Trust cannot be built overnight. Are you the master here? Thank you very much for your help. Miss Elf politely expressed her gratitude. It's just a small effort. I heard Jenksing say you want to leave here. Yes, although I can't remember things related to myself, but still remembers the location of his hometown. If I could go back, I should be able to remember everything. I think with your current situation, you can't go back. Do you know where you are right now? I retorted. The fairy lady shook her head helplessly. I didn't say much either. He gestured for her to follow him, then turned and walked towards the door. Miss Elf hesitated for a moment, but still followed. I took the bionic girl into the elevator. The elevator suddenly began to ascend rapidly. The fairy lady was still lost in her thoughts. The scene before me suddenly changed. The elevator has reached the top of the medical field, directly arrived on the deck. Suddenly, the entire landscape merged into Miss Elf's eyes. Countless massive machines block out the sun. like a school of fish swimming in the sky. Pillars that seemed to support the sky, one after another, spreading toward the horizon. She could even see countless bizarre machines. They are building these sunny giants. Looking down, the vast land is frozen under endless ice and snow. This is definitely not the world she originally lived in. "What exactly is this place?" Miss Elf said tremulously. The voice trembled uncontrollably. "Welcome to Earth." I smiled and welcomed this visitor from beyond. Miss Elf was a bit confused by this name. "Do you know this name?" I asked with some anticipation. Miss Elf shook her head. "I don't care either. It's nothing. This world is moving towards your planet. You will be able to return to your hometown in about 3 months." I comforted. Turning back, I found the beautiful eyes of the fairy lady. At this moment she is staring at me intently. I naturally understand what she means. "Don't worry. I am not here to invade your homeland. There's nothing worth taking from your place. I was just passing by. By the way, retrieve some things that originally belonged to my people." I said softly, "Let's go, I'll take you back. The next 3 months, just continue living here. There are sound medical facilities here. It may help with your amnesia." Miss Elf nodded. She knew she had no right to refuse. The situation I am facing right now, more bizarre than I initially imagined. She also needs to sort out her thoughts. Waiting for Miss Elf to return to the room. Just as I was about to leave, the fairy suddenly called out to me, "Is there anything else you need help with?" I smiled. Could I have a room with a window? The fairy seems to have an aversion to enclosed spaces. "This is simple." I casually pressed against the wall on one side of the room. In an instant, this wall slowly transforms from solid to ethereal. Wall with display features, directly projecting the scenes of the outside world, making the entire wall seem like a floor-to-ceiling window. Can clearly see everything outside the window. I pressed it again. Suddenly, the walls all around, including above and below, everything seemed to have turned transparent. Miss Elf felt as if she were standing in the void, frozen in place for a moment. After a moment, I cautiously took a few steps. The discovery is indeed still within the room. The delicate face is now filled with embarrassment. The cautious movements are truly adorable. I didn't linger much either. After a few words, he left. Only Miss Elf remained alone in the room. 3 months' time. Miss Elf felt that time was passing quickly. There are many fascinating things here, especially later when she was allowed to leave the room. You can explore everywhere in the medical field. Saw more new and unfamiliar things I hadn't encountered before. When the master of this place came to see her again, he also gave her a tablet filled with fantasy movies and games. Although she doesn't understand what fantasy means. But looking at the elves, dwarves, and orcs in the movie, controlling the character in the game to experience the story. It is a very strange experience. 3 months' time. It passed in the blink of an eye. For me, I've been doing quite well during this time. Finally, there's time to relax properly. The tense body has also relaxed quite a bit. As time goes by, the Earth is getting closer to its destination. Finally, one day, the report from Jenksing arrived. The Earth has arrived at the target star system. Begin to slow down. At this moment, I am lying in the small courtyard, listening to the revitalization report by my ear. Release the self-discipline machine. Conducting an inspection of the target star system. Discover the self-discipline mechanical aggregation sports police device left by humans 1,000 years ago. Gain the owner's authorization. Self-discipline mechanical reboot. Read the database. The Earth has now docked in the target star system. Searching for the target planet didn't take too long, because throughout the entire galaxy, only this planet is at the right distance from the star, with the changing of the four seasons, and there is a distinct atmosphere above. From space it looks. You can see the clear ocean and the lush green land. However, after accessing the database of the self-disciplined mechanical aggregate, it was not like when they were in the Bustling star system, easily obtaining the precise location of the regional engine factory on Beijing. The database does indeed show that there are laboratories on this continent, but there is no specific location for the laboratory, because the confidentiality level of the laboratory is higher than that of the factory. I only hope that the laboratory still has the research materials from those years. Biotechnology that extends life, not just lifespan. Inner force technology that can complement biotechnology. I am also quite envious. Then I arrived on my ship, Kingfeng. I am ready to personally visit this mysterious planet to investigate. Besides looking for the lab, I can also travel a bit. A fantastical world filled with artificial beings. Isn't it a pity not to take a stroll? Searching for the laboratory task. Just leave it to the drone and the other reconnaissance equipment. And those who went with me, aside from the replicant girl, and that person who has been staying at home for 3 months. During that time, I just ate, slept, played games, and watched movies. This elf is about to become a complete recluse. The Kingfeng ship glides across the Earth's sky. As usual, hundreds of autonomous mechanical aggregates surrounded the area as guards. Looking up at the sky, heading towards the massive disk-like planet. In the archives left by humanity 10,000 years ago, the planet is named Experiment Site 1. It's obvious just from the name. Human feelings towards their second foothold. The white star is no longer as intense as before. The Kingfeng ship began to accelerate. It will take several hours to reach Test Site 1. After all, the Kingfeng ship is not equipped with a green engine. Relying on plasma propulsion will definitely slow things down. I already regret making the Kingfeng ship too small. The current Kingfeng can't accommodate the green engine. Additionally, there are anti-gravity devices laid across the Earth. It is still far from being able to counteract the gravitational pull between the planets. Otherwise, I'll just launch the Earth at Test Site 1 space. There's no need to fly for so long anymore. I want to think a bit more. I'm still looking forward to it. That feeling when you look up and the entire sky is taken over by another celestial body. Translation error. After sailing for several hours, I can already see the vast continent beneath my feet, illuminating the distant city filled with fantastical style. My eyes sparkled. This feeling. It's like a child about to rush into an amusement park. This is the city of Glimmer, the largest city of the human race. It is also the royal capital of the dueling kingdom. Miss Elf illuminated the distant city of Glimmer. The gaze was equally complex. She didn't expect. I never expected to return here again, although she no longer remembers who she is. But seeing the familiar scenery still feels very familiar. Let's go. I said. The small anti-gravity generator begins to produce a force opposite to the planet's gravity and slightly deflect the opposing force. I fly towards the city of radiance. Miss Elf and the bionic girl followed behind me to conform to local customs. Now on us, they have already changed into clothing that matches the local indigenous style. Soon arrived at the city gate to land. Flying is prohibited in the city. Look at our outfits. The guard didn't make it difficult for us and let us into the city. Walking on the street, I saw more elves, beast-like orc with distinct features. There are also stocky squat dwarfs. Unfortunately, these orcs are not the cute beast girls, but rather a robust, muscular brute. This makes me a bit regretful. However, this city is filled with enchanting charm. At night, it presents a completely different scene. We found a place to stay at a hotel. The currency is a temporary suppression of the Durin Kingdom camp. The nightlife here is also lively and bustling. I've witnessed various amazing performances. I have also tried various local delicacies. Unconsciously, I ended up staying a bit longer. At the same time, I received news from Jenksing. There is a machine left in the palace of the Durin Kingdom. The 3D printer left behind by humanity. The database contains the specific locations of the relevant laboratories. Humans have left 3 laboratories on this planet. One of the cities is not far from the City of Radiance, and we have stayed here for many days. It's really time to set off. I can't wait to go and see it. The laboratory left behind by pioneering humans. And the remnants left behind, astonishing technological achievements. About 100 kilometers south of the city of Glimmer. It is a continuous mountain range shrouded in mist. This place is often shrouded in mist, due to the cold, damp weather and lack of sunlight. So very few people live there. It is precisely because it is filled with many ancient ruins. Became a paradise for adventurers. It is said that 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, the climate here is not like this yet. At that time, the mountains block the cold wave here. So the 4 seasons are like spring. Countless people thrive and multiply here. Established more than one ancient city. Later, it was gradually abandoned due to climate changes. The ancient city has turned into ruins. It is said that ghosts roam within. So until now, only adventurers occasionally appear in this place, looking forward to discovering something from a certain ruin. Master, arrived at the target location overhead. Has the autonomous machinery begun operations? Start the assignment. Yes. Should we drive away the traces of an adventurer? Will it interfere with the construction? I asked. It won't have any impact if it's outside the construction scope. Then don't worry about it. With a wave of my hand, dozens of massive autonomous mechanical conglomerates will descend to the ground, changing combinations to form various survival devices. Amidst the earth-shattering roar, digging towards the underground. Explore a section little by little like an adventurer. Does not exist. Only directly facing the harsh reality is the romance of the great industrial era. 3,000 meters deep underground. The excavating machine for self-discipline has finally stopped again. Thick alloy shell. After 10,000 years, it remains as pristine as ever. I can tell. Human materials science has made new advancements. The autonomous machine cautiously began to dismantle the alloy shell of the laboratory from 10,000 years ago. A massive plasma beam. This time, it's not as a driving force, but as a cutting tool, sprayed onto the thick alloy. I can only say that plasma spraying is indeed very useful. It can serve as a driving force. It can also be used as a weapon in a hurry. Finally, after several hours of cutting, a large section of the lab's heavy shell was cut open. The feedback from the self-disciplined machinery that had already been triggered in the laboratory has also arrived. Just machines of discipline. After both sides detected each other's identities, neither side opened fire immediately, but confronted each other in front of the broken shell in the laboratory. Until my arrival, only the self-disciplined machines in the lab cleared the way, completely taken over the entire laboratory's control and database by Kaiming. There are no intelligent quantum computers like Jenksing or Bakesing in the laboratory. Some are just ordinary quantum computers. Although it can automatically maintain various facilities in the laboratory, can also answer all my various questions, but lacks intelligence. It's just following the program data to converse with me. But that's only because this quantum computer's processing speed is fast enough, able to simulate various scenarios. Does not mean it possesses intelligence. At the same time, I also discovered, after humans left Earth, or after leaving Bakesing, the mindset seems to have started changing. I have become less concerned about the planets along the way. Bakesing at least officially got a name, and left behind a smart quantum computer. This is directly the testing ground, Planet Note 1, and not even a single intelligent computer is left behind. I didn't say much either. Still let Kaiming take over everything here. Soon, Kaiming finished searching the laboratory database, and then briefly reported to me. Nanotechnology Engineering Laboratory. In other words, there is no biotechnology information here. I feel a bit regretful. After all, the new type of nanobots is indeed impressive. It's not as important as increasing lifespan. Is there any technical information on this brand new nanorobot technology? I still hold a magic crystal in my hand. The magic crystal is a nanobot aggregate, constantly changing shape according to my instructions. I found a way to upgrade. There is technical information about the nanorobotics manufacturing factory, as long as there are existing nanorobotics factories on Earth. Upgrade and renovation. This can produce completely new nanobots. Existing nanobots can also be modified. Kaiming replied, "Is this all there is?" "Yes. There is no complete production information for the nanobots. If a civilization obtains this upgrade information, in the absence of human-like potential in nanobot technology, it's impossible to develop nanobots from nothing," Kaiming explained. I fell silent for a moment. A question arises in my heart. Why do I feel like they already know? Someone will need this upgrade information as well. She specially saved a portion for us. Then came a self-deprecating smile. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. They were here 10,000 years ago. How could anyone know what will happen in 10,000 years? At this moment, I am holding a piece of magic crystal, inspecting it repeatedly. "Master, do you need to modify the power armor you are wearing first?" Kaiming asked. "Can we do it now?" I was taken aback. I can feel my heart racing. After all, it's a power armor that can be directly integrated into the body. I am also looking forward to it, although I could completely control the nanobots in this world. Directly enter the body. Then, through programming, it can be used as powered armor. But to be cautious, I didn't do that. Even the 7 quantum computers advise against me doing this. Even the nanobots on this planet. It is also a legacy left by humanity. But 10,000 years have passed. It would be bad if a malfunction occurs. Small equipment in the laboratory. Nanobots can be used for transformation. My suggestion is for the master to implement the transformation as soon as possible. This is how nanobots work. Monitoring your health at all times within your body. Translation error. It is very beneficial for you. All right, let's transform it now. What do you need me to do? I asked. Just take off your nanofabric suit. The modification can be completed in 10 minutes. And so it was. I brought my bionic brother-in-law, arrived in a certain room in the laboratory. As for Miss Elf, was left on the King Song ship, did not come here. I just changed my clothes. Waited for a little while, about 10 minutes. The instruments in the laboratory have been modified. As soon as my palm touched that piece of clothing, The clothes transformed into countless tiny nanobots, directly surged into my body. I moved slightly. It feels like there hasn't been much change in my body. Suddenly, a thought crossed my mind. The nanobots inside the body surged out, combined to become powered armor. The new power armor looks more refined and form-fitting. At the same time, a part of the nanobots is also retained in the body, flowing around within one's own body. Help yourself monitor your health. This feeling is quite wonderful. Then I experimented again, controlling the nanobots in the body through thought. Establish a connection with the external nanobots. A piece of magic crystal just 10 meters ahead of me, changing forms according to my will. I suddenly have a feeling. As long as one is willing, I can directly control the nanobots on this planet, issuing a broadcast-style command through the continuous self-diffusion among the nanorobots. My command should take effect in an instant. Nanobots sent to the entire planet. I immediately gave it a try. In an instant, I felt my consciousness, as if spreading in all directions. That was a feeling like never before. Nanobots, after internal modification, directly with my audiovisual sensory nerves, connecting with brain neurons, and so on. Perceptions from the outside world. After certain filtering and analysis, it was directly transmitted to my mind. Is this the combination of nanotechnology and biotechnology? I understood in an instant. Through countless nanobots spread throughout this world, I only feel these nanobots. It felt as if everything had become an extension of one's own consciousness. This feeling is so wonderful. I couldn't bear to stop for a moment. It's like a spirit out of a novel. I have set my sights on several undiscovered magic crystal mines. Begin the experiment as per my instructions. In an instant, the ground began to tremble as if an earthquake had struck. Piled together, a massive nanobot conglomerate resembling a rain mountain. Awakened for the first time after 10,000 years of slumber, they began to surge like a liquid, accumulated over time on their surface. Soil, sand, stones, and trees rapidly collapsed. A sudden idea struck me, controlling the nanobots, directly aggregated into several aircraft carrier-sized ones. Self-disciplined mechanical aggregate, looking at these nanobots, successfully following one's own instructions, change into the desired item. I nodded in satisfaction. Unfortunately, such a disciplined mechanical aggregate, according to Keiming's evaluation, it's nothing but a decorative facade. It cannot be applied to large-scale engineering construction. Nanobots are indeed miraculous. But there is also a slight flaw. It's just not strong enough. Nanobots align with each other. Composite metal. The strength far exceeds that of ordinary metals found in nature, compared to many varieties of the 21st and even 22nd centuries. Alloys must also be much tougher, but compared to the latest nanoalloy materials, the intensity is ultimately insufficient. There is simply no way to combine with each other to become large equipment that is strong and durable. For example, a planetary engine, Tianju, or self-disciplined mechanical aggregate, because they are too loose. Every nanobot needs space to operate. It is also because of this characteristic. Nanobots are well suited for assembling small devices. For example, a small anti-gravity device. Or it could be the powered armor worn on the body. I am controlling the nanobots, a gigantic self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate composed of various parts, moving between the mountains. Every step taken booms with a thunderous sound. After all, it's just a facade. Played for a little while. I also lost interest. The assembled nanobots were disbanded. Let them return to the form of magic crystal ore. At the same time, the connection with the nanobots was severed. In an instant, a state that extends infinitely outward from a moment, returned to normalcy, immediately began the transformation of the nanomachine factory on Earth. Simultaneously, build more factories. We need more of this new generation of nanobots. I said to Kaiming, "As you command, Master. The Earth side will complete the renovation of the old nanomachine factory as soon as possible. Simultaneously build more factories, creating second-generation nanorobots. The data acquisition for this laboratory is complete. It's time to head to the next lab, based on the data obtained in this laboratory. The laboratory is located in a place called Fairy Forest. That is the biotechnology laboratory. There should be life extension biotechnology there. I am very much looking forward to this. Let's go. It's time to send off our fairy lady." Returning to the forest of elves, I control the anti-gravity device on the power armor. Slowly took to the air. Right now, I feel the anti-gravity device on the power armor. It also seems to have become a part of one's own body. This feeling is truly wonderful. As I withdraw, a large number of self-disciplined machines followed me out of the laboratory. Moreover, fix the lab's exterior as well. It's just a laboratory. Even if I move away, it won't make any difference. Unlike the large factory clusters on White Star, there is no value in relocation. I didn't even take the quantum computer here with me. After all, it's not an intelligent quantum computer. And I have returned to the ground above, just getting ready to return to the light cruiser, but suddenly noticed someone hiding behind a big rock, not far away, observing one's own gaze. This suddenly makes me feel interested. In the past, I found it hard to notice such gazes. But now I, with the inner micro-robot as the extension of consciousness, easily perceive everything around you. This novel and interesting experience, it makes me feel even more. The combination of nanotechnology and biotechnology. What a great technology it is! Humanity can finally transcend the inherent limitations of the body. And this is just one of the brilliant gems of human wisdom among the dazzling stars. At the center of the elven forest, there are two important places. One place is the largest city in the elven forest, Tree King City. Another place is the elven tree, which is far more important than the Tree King City. Compared to the densely populated Tree King City, the spirit tree is the realm of the elves. Except for the elders of the elf clan and the Grand Chancellor, no one can enter or exit freely. Every elf, only when they are newly born. Only then will parents send them here. With the help of the elder, young elves will receive the blessing of the elven tree here, only by receiving the blessing of the spirit tree. Only then can one be considered a complete elf, able to have a long lifespan of 800 to 1,000 years. If you cannot accept the blessing of the elf tree, then it can only be considered a half-elf. The lifespan is only around 500 years at most, as long as the spirit tree exists. The elven race will always be that powerful race, even with a low birth rate and a sparse population, still a formidable presence on this continent. But if something goes wrong with the spirit tree, then the entire elf clan will eventually fall to become half-elves, become an extremely ordinary race. The importance of the spirit tree to the entire spirit clan is unparalleled. However, it is unknown when it started. There are more and more elves, failing to accept blessings, became a half-elf. No one knows what happened. The elders were also at a loss. At the same time, more and more messages. It has also begun to appear in various places. The most common version is, "The spirit tree is withering, and my main purpose I am here to find the biotechnology laboratory, the location of the elven tree. This is the location of the biotechnology laboratory. So when I learned about the situation, I thought there would inevitably be a conflict. Who knows? Except for when the Kingsong ship first appeared, although still on guard against the sky, the towering green pine ship, and surrounding the Kingsong ship, self-disciplining mechanical aggregate. But in the eyes of these elders, what I felt more was excitement. Excitement and anticipation. I thought about it. Since the other party has shown goodwill, then let's make contact. And we can also conveniently send Miss Elf down. Do you remember anything? Miss Elf gazes intently. The spirit tree under the Kingsong ship. I asked with a thoughtful expression, "Spirit tree, I once should have belonged to this land." The fairy said with a slightly trembling voice, "Your original status in the elf clan must have been quite high, right?" I nodded. "I don't know." Miss Elf showed a hint of confusion. "Let's go. I don't know if anyone still remembers you, although Miss Elf may have a high status. But she left here 3,000 years ago. 3,000 years have passed, even with the longevity of the elves. Those who know her should have already done so. But if she is really important, so about her legends and stories, it might still be passed down. Moreover, with these elders now," looking at King Song's excited expression, "I already have some guesses." Just like that, I brought Miss Elf, standing at the bottom of the King Song ship, on a disc-shaped anti-gravity platform like an elevator, slowly descending towards the ground, directly arrived in front of the dozen or so elders of the elf clan. The elders are looking at me, looking at Miss Q again. There is also Miss Elf. For a moment it seemed a bit flustered. "Take out your armor and bow," I said to the fairy lady. The fairy lady was taken aback. He gradually understood and nodded slowly. The next moment, Miss Elf's exquisite long elven armor, it floated onto her body. At the same time, that equally exquisite bow, it was also held in her hand. The killing chamber. The elders of the elf clan were stunned. Tears flowed uncontrollably. "Her Majesty Eve, you succeeded. You have reclaimed the founding clan. I praise you. Her Majesty, the great Eve." The elders used the most humble etiquette of the elf clan. Salute to Miss Fairy. After 3,000 years of waiting, the queen of the elven tribe has finally returned. She fulfilled her promise, reclaimed the founding clan, healing magic for the elven race. Now, she stood by the side of the founding clan, returning from the starry sky aboard the giant starship. The elders of the elves are in tears. It seemed as if I faintly saw the depiction in the poetry of the elves. The scene as Queen Eat sail, that lonely boat, ultimately brought hope back to the elven clan. Yes, I remember now. "Eve, this is my name." Miss Elfleal's lips trembled. Accompanied by this name, she finally remembered everything. The tragic heroism of setting sail alone at the beginning, and the joy of successfully returning at this moment. As memories return, in line with what I've seen and heard during this time, she has finally made up her mind. I actually found the founding clan. How incredible this is! I stand to the side. They were not disturbed during their long-awaited reunion. No, or perhaps it should be said that it's our first meeting. The group of elves sent off Yi-Fi back then. After 3,000 years of time, it is already impossible to leave any traces. But the legacy remains. The fire in my heart never extinguishes. Their child's child has finally found hope. Lord Linzu, thank you for taking care of me during this time. I have remembered everything. I am here to find the founding clan. Only by healing the spirit tree can one step onto the starry sky. Yifu sincerely thanked me. Sayo shi yuan. I did it just out of convenience. I laughed nonchalantly. Eve opened her mouth. It seems a bit embarrassing. I know the elf clan has no right to ask you for anything. The founding clan granted life to the elves in those years. And the elf tree. We let the spirit tree wither away. But the elf tribe still wants to shamelessly request you. Please save the spirit tree. He immediately knelt down on one knee. The dozen or so elder elves behind Yifu, and countless peripheral elf guardians, like a domino effect, also kneeling on one knee. After all, we are on someone else's turf. As local residents, they are definitely more familiar with the environment here than I am. We might need their help later. It's worth a try. Thinking of this, Huang Fan nodded. I'll do my best. The Qingfeng ship floated in the air. The volume that shades the sky and covers the sun. The location of the spirit tree on the ground, as if nightfall had descended. At the same time, a large number of self-disciplined mechanical aggregates. They combined to create an ultimate piece of equipment, digging down along the edge of the massive spirit tree and the numerous spirits surrounding them. Watching their own spirit tree, it felt as if it were being uprooted. But one by one, they just watched like it was a spectacle, watching the massive machinery digging down. If you didn't know better, you'd think these spirits had gone mad. In the past, they built some facilities next to the spirit tree. The elders could argue for days and nights. Now, such a big matter. Surprisingly, there wasn't a single voice of dissent. I didn't wait in place either. Yifu crossed thousands of years. Just returned to my homeland. There are plenty of things to keep busy within nature. And I, as the founding clan in their eyes, if you stay in place, it will definitely attract unnecessary attention. To avoid causing trouble for Yifu, I returned to the youth number until the self-disciplined mechanical aggregator finally excavated the location of the laboratory. As usual, we began to dismantle the alloy casing. I just entered the underground through the deep pit at the excavation site. The confrontation with the self-regulating machine has been resolved. I brought the bionic girl into the laboratory. Kaiming took over the control rights and database of the laboratory. The database information was quickly retrieved. Successfully acquired the materials left in the biotechnology laboratory. How come I use it? I felt a bit nervous when I asked this. After all, being able to extend life to 3,000 years or even longer. How could I not be excited if one could truly live for 3,000 years? Adding the time for hibernation, even enough for me to extend my life to nearly 100,000 years later. That would be a significant improvement. I also feel more confident about finding Earthlings. Found the technical information on how to upgrade existing human gene technology. After upgrading, human lifespan can be extended to 5,000 years. Kaiming replied, 5,000 years? Great. I nodded in satisfaction, unable to hide the excitement within. Then I calmed down. I noticed another issue. Is there only technical information for upgrading existing genetic technology in the database? Yes. It is not a complete set of genetic technology information. If a civilization obtains this upgrade information without the prior genetic technology of humans, it is indigestible. Understood. I nodded and didn't say anything else. Master, I found the control program for the spirit arts. Kaiming spoke again. What have you found? After retrieving the operational date of the spirit art through the control program, the reason for the declining power of the elven magic has been found. The magic of the elves hasn't replenished the nanobots for too long. This is what is known as a magic essence. The elves don't seem to have the concept of replenishing magical energy for elven magic. To put it simply, the so-called newborn elf receives the blessing of elven magic. It is the elven magic that infuses nanobots for the newborn. These nanobots will follow the predetermined program set by the fairy magic, optimize the bodies of the elves, at the same time maintaining the health of the spirits within, to allow the spirit to live to the theoretical limit of its lifespan. It's been 1,000 years. And the nanobots within the elf, when operating according to the established procedures of the elven arts. Elves are also endowed with naturally optimized sharp nerves, making the nervous system more sensitive to the presence of nanorobots. Thus, the trend of nanobots within the body is extreme. Even though the elven race is small in number, yet it still firmly occupies the elf forest, to hold a place on the mainland. As for saying, why can nanorobots, which are only molecular in size, be perceived? It is naturally because of the second generation of nanobots. It is the combination of nanotechnology and biotechnology. Possessing a unique ability to connect with living beings, it's as if I can sense everything through various sensory nerves, and the neural sources interfacing with the second generation nanobots. Thus, nanorobots became an extension of one's own consciousness and touch, and the elven magic over time. During the infusion of nanobots into the elf clan, stored nanobots are becoming increasingly rare, unable to obtain supplements. Nature also wishes that blessings may not come on time. The elves sought ways to heal the increasingly withering elven magic. Various rituals are also being held. Pray for blessings for the elves with precious artifacts. In fact, elemental magic is just lacking the most basic magical essence. But the elves had no idea about this. And so thousands of years have passed. The failure rate of the elf magic blessing is increasing. The elves had no choice but to retreat into the elven forest, no longer waste the brilliance of the past. In the end, I still didn't inform the elves of the true situation, but only spoke to Yifu. I have already healed the elf with magic. Just use the spirit magic for blessings later. Do not use the magic of the spirit art, but it should be replaced with magic essence. This can alleviate the pressure of elven magic. You will no longer get sick. After the countless thanks from the elves, I also learned from the historical records of the long-lived elf race, received an interesting piece of information. After completing the healing work of the spirit art, the elven clan expressed their sincerest gratitude to me. At the same time, I also received an interesting piece of information. The lifespan of the elven race is long, so the historical records are relatively well preserved. In their records, when humanity set sail from here, they also took away a group of elite beings from various races that followed humanity, referred to as the kin of humanity. They are the finest members of various races. Powerful strength, loyal beyond measure to humanity. As I listened to these descriptions, I suddenly thought of, since we are fated companions. So, regarding the control permissions for that my robot, it must be higher than ordinary creations. Perhaps this is the reason for their great strength. I have already found 2 laboratories along the way, but did not find a quantum computer responsible for the daily maintenance of the laboratory. They are just ordinary quantum computers. So the last laboratory, I did not go in person, but authorized 2 others take over control of the 3rd laboratory, just the access to the database. Just like that, the King Zhonghao is on standby in the clouds of the sky, separate a portion of the autonomous mechanical aggregate. Heading to the 3rd laboratory, I temporarily stayed in the elf block. I want to stroll around Tree King City, This vast city built beneath the shade of a towering ancient tree, the so-called king of trees. It is a tree trunk with a diameter of over 1,000 meters, giant trees reaching thousands of meters high, and the Tree King city is built under the shade of this gigantic tree, according to the information I obtained from the bioengineering laboratory. This giant tree is also part of an ecological transformation experiment from 10,000 years ago. Humans want to try adjusting with DNA, develop a special tree species, to transform the barren planet into a stone man for the future. This tree in the Forest of Elves is the earliest masterpiece. I walk through Tree King City with the android girl, admiring the unique architectural aesthetics developed by the elves. I have to say it's really beautiful, because there are also some other races living in Tree King City, so the two of them were very conspicuous. I have been living in Tree King City for 2 days now. These past 2 days, I live in the clothes of the restored queen's identity, in the palace of the elven tribe specially arranged for me. It is located atop that tall giant tree. Beautiful architectural style. It made my stay very enjoyable. In the past 2 days, I have also watched a lot of historical records of the elven race. Time flies by. The database from the third laboratory has also been acquired. I think it's about time to leave. Master, Earth has upgraded its genetic technology based on the obtained data, upgraded the gene modification equipment. Should we return to Earth for further genetic modifications? Timing's report has arrived. It seems I've spent enough time on this planet. It's time to go back. I feel emotional about it. Finally, I looked again at the vibrant Tree King city. It's about time to set sail. Let's go. The light gear slowly descended. Stop at the side of the Tree King. Residents living in Tree King City. It was already known under the grand proclamation of the ruling that the legendary queen's attire had returned, reclaiming the founding clan, healed the elf tree, and this enormous sword of the starry sky. He is the writer of the founding clan. So everyone gathered in the streets and alleys, looking at that colossal object in the sky. His eyes were filled with curiosity and reverence. Everyone felt genuine gratitude. The founding tribe saved the elf tree. After the leveling of the Tree King's branch, like at the fork in the square, I am saying my final farewell to the Queen's dress. I'm quite curious, actually. 3,000 years ago, you were sitting in a space shuttle. Why choose to fly in that direction? I asked. We observed the continuous flashing coming from that direction. The reason for clothes is extremely simple, but during this time it has followed me. He already knows. Continuous flashing 3,000 years ago. It is actually the Norland civilization pursuing the rebels. The glow emitted during the battle. It was like grasping the last straw of hope. The elf clan blindly moved in that direction, in search of the traces of the founding clan, although the final result looks pretty good. But I have to say that luck plays a huge role. At last, I express the highest respect on behalf of my clan. Your legend will surely be forever passed down among the elf tribe. The clothes bowed respectfully. I helped him up, smiling farewell. Goodbye, goodbye. I turned and walked towards the Kingfeng ship. No turning back. The bionic girl first nodded at the clothes. The corners of the mouth twitched slightly, silently said goodbye. Only then did they turn around and follow me. Suddenly, the Kingfeng ship ascends into the sky, heading towards the sky. The clothes watched the Kingfeng growing smaller in the sky, sleepless for a long time. Believe in that experience on Earth. It will definitely become his most profound memory, timeless obsession. On the Kingfeng ship, I gazed at the ever-shrinking Tree King city below. Inquired about the third laboratory, the issues of the space engineering laboratory. Nene, you previously mentioned the space engineering laboratory. It is exploring the possibility of miniaturizing the research area engine, although it wasn't successful. However, there were unexpected results. Yes, Master. The regional engine is a curved space. Drag the target forward by moving through space. To achieve faster than light, a massive amount of energy is needed during operation. Miniaturization is very difficult. So humans want to research the miniaturization of regional engines. Not successful so far, but during the research process, accidentally discovered how to compress space. Methods for creating compressed space. Upon hearing this, I was taken aback. Compressing space. I don't understand. How is this related to the regional engine? If it bends in space afterwards, space always maintains a curved state and continuously accumulates this curved state. It can achieve space compression. And because we do not pursue dragging large heavy objects, conducting faster than light travel, so this curvature can be maintained for a long time. It can even be relatively simple to achieve miniaturization. Canning introduced the uses of compressed space. I continued to ask. The Qingfeng ship can be compressed to just 1/10 of its size. Of course, it just looks smaller overall. The interior space is still the same. Kaiming explained. Can the regional engine be compressed and installed on the Qingfeng? I thought of a use. The regional engine can be compressed when not in operation. However, during operation, it will naturally produce spatial curvature. At that time, there will be a conflict between space compression and the curvature of space. It will instantly return to its original size. There could even be a spatial explosion. Kaiming introduced again. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Then I'll just put it aside for now. Cold sweat is pouring down my forehead. Temporarily dismissed this thought. In the space engineering laboratory, Kaiming not only obtained technical information on compressed space, I'd also received a legacy left by humanity. Next phase of the journey arrangement. The place where humanity is about to go and stop. Clearly marked. This makes me very happy. The next goal is clearer. The Qingfeng ship slowly entered the Earth's orbit. Looking at the snow-covered Earth below, I naturally developed a sense of familiarity. This is my home. With a home, I am not alone. In this vast universe, I set off on my journey alone. Humans who set sail collectively far more than 10,000 years ago. A home that can comfort the soul is even more needed. I felt a moment of daze. Suddenly realized I have actually been away from the solar system for over 1,000 years. Although in this 1,000 years, I spend most of my time in hibernation. Yet there is still a feeling of great change over time. It is deeply lamentable. Earth Poverty Alleviation Project. Still ongoing. A vast number of pillars in the sky. Still climbing towards the sky. Until all the celestial pillars cover the entire sky. At least another 800 or 900 years are needed. The Qingfeng gently descends onto the northern land. I returned to the ecological dome of Yanqing City, starting genetic modification. Due to technological maturity, the speed of the transformation is also very fast. This transformation, I didn't feel any particularly noticeable changes. If I have to say, it's just that my body feels a bit lighter. A long life of 5,000 years. It gave me a bit more confidence in finding humanity. Modification complete. I was like usual, lying again on the sugar rice in the small courtyard. At the same time, a report came in from one of the quantum computers. Master, The modified second-generation NEMI robotic factory has begun production. More second-generation inner rice robot factories are under construction. Compared to the old NEM robots, the second generation of inner My robots has a wider range of applications. It's recommended to stock up on more. The cargo meeting collapsed. The potential of the Earth Dome project remains unaffected. Let's produce at full capacity. This thing is indeed very useful. I still can't forget that feeling of transforming into something otherworldly. The NEM robot on Experiment Site 1. I think it's too troublesome and I don't plan to recycle it. Let it be for the people on this planet. Compared to recycling the ancient NEMI robots from 10,000 years ago, I still prefer creating stars. Speaking of which, where is the next destination? A galaxy 200 light-years away. So, does this mean we have to hibernate for another 100 years? I hope nothing unexpected happens this time. Just saying it. But in fact, I am really looking forward to it. Let's have some unexpected surprises. I didn't expect it to come so quickly. As soon as I finished speaking, the report on the cargo has just arrived. Master, according to the human journey schedule in the Space Engineering Laboratory database, humanity's next destination prepared for millennia ago. There is a galaxy that also has Earth-like planets. However, based on our current observations, the target star system no longer has Earth-like planets. Instead, a new asteroid belt was formed. What's going on? Could it have been destroyed? I suddenly realized. We cannot rule out various possibilities. Yin Huo replied. What about the other planets in the galaxy? I asked. The other planets are intact. Only terrestrial planets no longer exist. Cargo response. Let's go. Let's go take a look. The shattering of a planet doesn't mean anything. There are many ways to shatter a planet. Can shatter a planet against a fully armed planet like Earth. But they are two completely different concepts. As my life commands, 100,000 regional engines are restarting. The experiment site has already been overshadowed by good intentions. Nearly a month on Earth, finally starting to move. 100,000 regional engines bend the space around the Earth. The compression of space ahead. Rear expansion, dragging the Earth towards the galaxy beyond. Flying at an extremely fast speed. In just a few short minutes. Completely disappeared over the continent. Became an ordinary galaxy. As time goes by, night falls over the city of Tianjin. It is already 11 p.m. Although I underwent genetic modification, you can definitely get by with less sleep. Allow the brain to get enough rest. But I still try to ensure about 7 hours of sleep each day. It's just that today feels a little different. I stayed up a little late. Because today is Spring Festival, I sat on the sofa. Nearby stood an old 50-inch LCD television. In this era where holographic projections have completely replaced television, you can still find a liquid crystal display TV like this. If nothing goes wrong, it's the factory that will reproduce it for me. This is how I can enjoy such special treatment. On a planet that only has me, it's impossible for anyone to be preparing for the Spring Festival Gala. So what's on TV is me because of cancer. The first new year after being cryogenically frozen in 2050. The Spring Festival Gala of 2051. To be honest, when I grow up, I haven't really watched the Spring Festival Gala properly. It is past midnight. I am eating the dumplings made by the Bionic Girl, watching the countdown to midnight on TV. The old year has passed just like that. The new year has arrived. It's just that the TV depicts the year 2051. What I welcomed was the year 10,891. The scene of fireworks being set off after midnight begins to play on the television. I also looked up at the sky above. Unfortunately, there were no fireworks. As I was feeling a bit sentimental, suddenly a false night sky appeared above, gradually becoming transparent. The starry sky outside the ecological dome appeared before my eyes. The starry sky of a simulated Earth era. The Big Dipper is clearly visible. In the current real sky, it has already disappeared. Or say, even if I can still see, due to the change in the Earth's relative position, the Big Dipper no longer looks like a ladle as it once did. Of course, this is not the main point right now. The focus is on the emergence of the real sky, surrounding the entire ecological dome of Yanjing City. A shot dragged through the brilliant smoke of the fireworks, rushing towards the sky. Then it exploded above the ecological dome. Brilliant smoke instantly painted the entire Yanjing City in a kaleidoscope of colors. Even the entire Yanjing City was in sync for this moment. The whole city went dark. I looked at all of this in astonishment. "Happy New Year, Master!" The android girl said behind me. "This matter. Is it to your liking, my arranged master?" The voice of the bionic girl remained calm and unruffled, but I seemed to sense the tension within. "I really like it. Thank you." A smile from the heart. The bionic girl also started to laugh. That smile was happy. It is also a bit like a gaze from the crowd. Before doing this, she is also worried about what to do if the master doesn't like it. I felt a sense of relief. Not just this fireworks display. The bionic girl is finally becoming more and more like a real person. She no longer approached everything with reason. Sometimes I also do some sentimental things. This is great. All right. The year has come to an end. It's time to sleep. I stretched. What I mean by sleep right now. Nature is not simply about sleeping, but enter the sleep pod to rest. The Earth has been sailing for many days after leaving test site No. 1. At this moment, through the ashes of the burnt fireworks, I can still see a corner of the sky. It has already been due to the great distance, but it became an ordinary star, experiment No. 1 planet. After a while, I'm afraid we can't even see this star. After all, the universe is truly vast. Stars that can be seen from a great distance. At least we should try a star. Experiment Site 1 planet. Still far from having that qualification. Just like that, leaving test Site 1 planet, I waited a few more days. After the new year, once again entered a dormant state. After the bionic girl closed the sleep chamber for me, also began to enter hibernation in the nearby sleep pod, underwent a new genetic modification with me. The bionic girl, who also received a lifespan of 5,000 years. Theoretically, it is supposed to accompany me for a lifetime. So while I am in hibernation, she must also enter hibernation. Ensure both individuals' physical aging levels are basically equal until another 100 years have passed. The bionic girl arrived 10 minutes early. The duty-bound intelligent quantum computer Tayin awakens. Then the bionic girl emerged from the sleep chamber. I tidied up the current situation a bit. Then I was awakened, approaching the target star system. Later, the intelligent computer Tayin will be on duty. There will be the latest intelligence reported to you. The android girl spoke as soon as I opened my eyes. "You've worked hard." I stepped out of the sleep pod. I stretched my body a little. After feeling that there was nothing unusual, Kai walked towards the sleep chamber. He began to ask questions. "Tayin, please report the latest situation." "All right, I will introduce you." Latest intelligence gathered on the asteroid belt. At this moment I had just awakened from my slumber. As I took the elevator from the sleeping chamber at the bottom of the wall to the surface, Tayin reported the latest situation. There are the most fragments around. This is likely the original location of the mainland planet. Near these three largest fragments, self-disciplined mechanical aggregation units sent for reconnaissance discovered traces of an alien warship. Is the alien warship a battlefield ruin? The first thing that comes to my mind. It's the place we encountered last time. Ruins of the Norse civilization's warships. The battleship is fully operational. Initial assessment indicates two opposing forces. It seems both sides are cautiously keeping their distance and making contact. The self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate maintains surveillance from a distance. It seems neither side has noticed them. The moon said, "What does their technological level look like?" "Current intelligence comprehensive assessment. The other party's technology level is inferior to ours." "All right, let's continue monitoring." I nodded. "Master, I need to remind you. The Earth is about to reach the target star system. In terms of Earth's mass, we could be discovered at any moment. First, monitor it. Let's talk about it when they find out." I thought for a moment and said, "So the Earth proceeded according to the original plan. Continue navigating towards the target star system. As we get closer to the target galaxy, the speed begins to decrease. From the original speed of twice the speed of light, decelerate to 1/10 the speed of light, back to 1%. After 1,000th, the Earth slowly merges into the planetary system of the target galaxy, approaching the asteroid belt quickly. At the same time, near the asteroid belt, a temporary merchant fleet consisting of 10 warships, each 100 meters long, engaging with 10 ships of the Merry Republic, gently touching. Both sides' warships are massive motherships. Both sides deployed large groups of fighter jets. Mutual vigilance. The main individuals from both sides finally started communication. Over here in the Republic of Marie, they are two beings that are 80% similar to humans. The skin appeared as a blue hue, resembling a fairy. Here at the temporary caravan, however, all 10 captains are present. The differences among these 10 people are quite significant. Some people resemble each other by 70 or 80%. Some are completely different from others. Some even have 4 arms. It doesn't even look like a mammal. But one thing is quite consistent. They all walk upright. Freed my hands. It can be considered the first step in the evolution of intelligent beings. We need to first obtain 10 propulsion engines. Only then can I hand over the chaotic primordial energy to you. Joke. Who knows if you all truly have chaos origin energy in your hands? You can send someone to verify in person. Can you still stay awake? If we head away, there is no need to be an interstellar merchant here anymore. You can directly become a soldier of a higher civilization, since there's no way out. Are you kidding us? This is something even advanced civilizations cannot solve. We naturally cannot solve it either, but we can use another method. You sent someone to try using the instruments. Record the chaotic primordial energy we are storing. If recorded afterwards, what you see is garbled text. Isn't that proof enough? Is it the true chaos primal energy? Who knows if you used information interference? So what do you think we should do?